Hello, golf fans. The Big D back and better than ever as we have my second PGA Championship video. Before I bring in Matt, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page where we're bringing out the driver this week at Quali Hollow. Also, check out Big D Podcast, Spotify, and Apple. So, join me, the only guy who's better at PGA Championship one and dones than me, Matt Vincenzi. So, Matt, second major of the year, Quay Hollow. Things are getting spicy in Charlotte, right?
Absolutely, and I always love coming on here because it seems like whenever I do, we pick the winner. So I'm happy about that, and I think it'll be a great event. I think one thing that the PGA Tour and Live splitting apart, it definitely hurt the week to week product, but it has made the majors really exciting.
Yeah, honestly, I'm glad you brought up how the PJ and Live Splinter Pump may be good and bad, but how would you change the golf schedule? Because I mentioned this with Tom on Sunday, and I think you even tweeted out there like so many events in California, Texas, and Florida, and not enough events in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I might be a little biased, obviously, with the East Coast, but being in the Boston area, there's so many good golf courses in New England and in New York and New Jersey that we haven't been able to see. And just visually, it's so much different than the tournaments we see week in and week out, and stylistically, and the challenge that it provides. I just think there's so much that we could be getting out of the schedule that we're not getting out of right now. So, what I would do is one, maybe not the Northern Trust like it used to be, but have an event late in the season. And people are worried about burdening their golf club. So why not have one that rotates every 4 years between Liberty National, TPC Boston, Ridgewood, and something else, right? Or maybe even new courses that we haven't seen yet. And that way, the tournament only has to, the membership only has to lose the tournament for a week, for once every 4 years rather than every year.
Yeah, and also, what guys play well differently in the Northeast compared to Texas or Florida. I mean, Jordan Spieth might want 59 PGA championships in Texas, right?
Yeah, I mean, looking ahead to the career Grand Slam talk. I mean, the one at PGA Frisco seems like it's not only his best chance, it might be his only chance at the Grand Slam.
Yeah. I've got a simple solution to the problem. I think there are way too many signature events. I think there should be three signature events on the calendar, and and Matt, I'm gonna let you try and guess where those signature events are.
I'm gonna guess API Bay Hill,
Yep,
Memorial at Murfield Village,
yep.
and the last one would be Riviera.
Tigers event in Riviera.
Yeah, I agree. I think those events should be a little bit higher than the rest.
Not just because of who's hosting them, but the course, whether it be Riviera, Bay Hill, or Muirfield. And I would also make it where live golfers can play those three events and the players. So then we don't have like watching last weekend in Philly felt a little empty.
I completely agree with you. Everything you just said, I think is perfectly said, and I agree. I think that would be awesome. And people will complain and say, "Why should live guys get to play?" But if you make it the top five in the live standings, not only does that make it a better event for the PGA Tour, it also provides those live events with, hey, we have something else to play for in addition. It makes their tournaments feel more meaningful because they're playing for a spot in the other signature events.
And also, you know what? I don't think any I don't think anybody cared that Bryson lived golf or Roy's a PGA golf at Augusta. I think people just want golf.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're all sick of the divide, and we just want the best players playing against each other. It doesn't have to be all that often, but three extra times would be fine.
So you mentioned Jordan Spieth going for the Grand Slam, a lot like Roy at Augusta. Now that he got the green jacket, everyone's probably asking Jordan Spieth 100 times, "Are you going to get the one and make it and get the Grand Slam?" What golfer do you think is next on the list of completing the Grand Slam?
That's a great question. For me, it's Rom. I just have so much belief in him long term, and I know, I know that people criticize him since he's gone to live and his major performance has dipped. But I think that's just the case with all golfers. They all have their peaks and valleys throughout their career. He still has a lot of prime years left. I think he's well suited to win an Open. The hardest one for him is probably going to be the PGA Championship. But with the way they play it so long and tough now, he's a U.S. Open type player, and there's no reason why he can't get one of those too.
Yeah, and I mean, you think of course this week like Quali Hollow, but Brahms played that course. Trying to think of Southern Hills, but maybe one. Trying to think of one of these next time. Maybe Beth Page if and when it hosts the PGA. But I think Colin Morikawa got one of the hardest ones from out of the way, winning the Open. I mean, really wasn't an Open in 2021, but to me, the hardest one for Colin will be Augusta.
Yeah, but he plays there so great. And I think I agree with you. I mean, the fact that he got the one out of the way that he's really not suited for it all. He was lucky that week. It played like a dome. There was no wind. There were no fans, and he kind of stole that one. And I think I'd have a hard time seeing him win I don't want to say real Open, but a real Open. So I agree that he's gotten that one out of the way.
Yeah, yeah. Xander winning last year's Open felt like an Open with the weather conditions. Colin Morikawa didn't feel like an Open, but that's just me.
Yeah, I agree. It didn't.
I don't know who you bet at that 21 Open. I was on Spieth that week.
I think I was on probably Rahm.
I was on Rahm at Torrey Pines, so I got him at the right major. Phew.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so to Quail Hollow this weekend. It's hosted I'm going to say Wells Fargo now Tour Championship forever. Now hosting second PGA. What do you think about the course?
It's not my favorite. I think it's a good course. I don't love having the tour stops that are majors. I like seeing new courses that we only see once every 5 years or 10 years. I think that's more fun and more exciting. And in seeing a course this week that we see every single year, it's not that I don't like the course. It's just that we know too much about it. I like the whole process of learning about the new course going to be playing at and trying to find comps and what it might play like. That's part of the fun for me and golf fans, and seeing something visually that you haven't seen before. With that being said, what I do like about Quail Hollow is I do think it separates the men from the boys, which is a good major test. I think you're going to have to hit it long and straight, which I like in majors. And I think it's going to be suited for a leaderboard that's exciting, because these great players like Rory, Scotty, and Bryson, I don't see a way where they're not involved in some way, shape, or form.
I think what makes Quail Hollow such a tough test this week is that it's long, challenging. I mean, even though it's rained quite a bit yesterday, I think by this weekend it'll be hard, firm, and fast. So it's going to be maybe not Oakland, but it'll play more like a U.S. Open. And the PGA Championship, when it's not playing in Valhalla, has been like, winning score 7, 8 under. So I'm thinking we're going to see one of those Opens where if you can make a couple birdies and hopefully survive the Green Mile, you've got a good chance of winning the Wanamaker.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I agree. I think they have that sub-air system, so they will firm it up pretty quickly.
Yeah, like Augusta, right?
Yep.
So I'm honestly looking at course comps for this weekend. The one that I keep looking back to is Torrey Pines, not just because they both hosted majors, but hosting majors and PGA Tour events on the same course.
Yes. I like that one. I also like Riviera because I think you get a lot of leaderboard crossover with Riviera.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, what's the other one? Southern Hills too.
Yep. Yeah, JT's won at both of them.
That might be good. That might lead into one of my names. Yeah, of course JT's going to win a PGA just to annoy me when he was my one and done at Augusta, but that's a story for another day. Although I think you bet him at Augusta too, right?
I did. Yeah, it didn't work out.
Yeah, yeah. Only if Rose had beaten Roy in the playoff, you would have been sitting pretty.
That would have been nice. But you know what? I was happy for Rory in the end, and I was able to hedge some on the playoff. So I'm glad we got that storyline out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah. So Where does the Green Mile rank in terms of famous finishes or famous stretches golf? Obviously, nothing's going to top Amen Corner or the stretch at St. Andrews. But where does the Green Mile rank in terms of trickiness?
I think it's up there in terms of trickiness. I mean, it's so long, and these guys are really going to struggle. It's definitely harder and better than the snake pit and the bear trap.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, I mean, the pole fives this week. You're gonna have to hit the ball a long way and straight. Otherwise, you're hacking out and then struggling to make pole.
Yeah, yeah, and I think people are going to look at the leaderboard in 2017 and think that maybe shorter hitters can get away with, um, and play well here despite being short. But August is much different than it is in May, and the ball has a lot more run out. That's why you saw the shorter hitters on the leaderboard like Kevin Kisner. I think this year is going to be a different story.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but these guys play well to the Tourist Championship every year. So how will the Tourist Championship compare to what the PGA will be? Because these guys are used to playing the course in May.
Yeah, I think it will be similar to what we saw in 2024. Like that's why I think that minus 10, 12, 13 is probably the area we're looking at.
I'm thinking more 7 to 10, but it
I
could
hope.
be. So you're thinking it maybe play more like Oak. You're thinking the school might be more what Brooks did at Oak Hill.
I think so. I think so. Because yeah, I think Thursday they'll probably score a little bit. It might be a little softer on Thursday, and then the scores will kind of trickle away. And I would say minus 12, maybe 13.
So honestly, I mean, going into the PGA Championship, looking at which guys are performing well and which guys aren't. Roy's the easy one. Let's see. Roy's won at Pebble, Sawgrass, and Augusta. Not bad, right?
Yeah, yeah, historic courses.
Oh yeah, and he's won at Quali Hollow 4 times. Not to mention.
That's why I almost feel like it's everyone wants to say he's going to win because of that. I almost think the opposite. Like it just seems too obvious, too easy. He just won a major. Everyone thinks the monkey's off his back. That doesn't change the fact that he really tried to give that one away at the Masters.
I mean, Roy darn near choked it away at 13 and then at 18. I mean, he did the Bryson inverse.
He did. He did. I don't know if that goes away just because he won. Like I still think that's part of who he is, and that's why people like him because he's that kind of that flawed hero. But I still think doesn't make that flaw go away though.
And then you mentioned the other guy in the final group. I mean, Bryson won the U.S. Open, just won the last live event in Korea, right?
Yep.
And finished second to Xander in last year's PGA. And eventually, Bryson's going to figure it out and win one of these PGAs, right?
Oh yeah, you'd think so. I mean, the second last year, and this one is going to be one that favors the long hitters. And I got to say this about Bryson: I don't think enough is being talked about the way he's driving the ball this year because he's always so good at driving it. But last year he was gaining on distance and losing on accuracy just about every week. This year, in all 8 of his starts, he's gained on both distance and accuracy. I think he's currently having the best driving season in the history of the sport.
And you know what also separates Bryson from almost everybody? The shot he hit out of the bunker at 18 on a flying horse was one of those shots I'm like, wow. I mean, Fitz's bunker shot at just down the road from you at the country club was one of those shots. Bryson's shot's one we look back and like, how did he hit that?
And yes, we said the hardest shot in golf is the 40-yard bunker shot, and he was able to put it to a couple feet and nail the putt. That was as clutch of a up and down you'll ever see.
Yeah, if only Roy had made one of his fall putts and we go into a playoff.
That would have been something.
Yeah. And then who's not really and then recently Sepp Straka just won in Philadelphia. Honestly, I feel like feel like Sepp Straka is getting ready to become one of, if not the most highly owned golfers this week.
Yeah, you always get that major pricing when it comes out a week before, and you don't know who wins the previous event. He probably will be. I'm not huge on him this week. I do think he's elevated himself to another tier of the type of golfer that he is, and I think he deserves some respect for what he's done this season in the Ryder Cup and all these things that he's been doing. And he's a good player. But because of the ownership and because of just coming off the win, it's probably an easy stay away from me.
Probably a better. I mean, if you had, I mean, what's his number now? 60. I think Steph's probably would have been a better bet last week. Now I'm not sure. I think the bets numbers come and gone.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, then who's not playing well heading into Quali Hollow?
I mean, a guy who typically is always a threat at the PGA Championship is Brooks Koepka, who I don't think is a threat at all this week.
I can't believe you said that because Brooks has won 3 of the last 7 PGAs.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Brooks is healthy.
No, and the thing with Brooks is when he does play well in these majors since he's joined the LIV, at least he showed us that it was coming. When he won at Oak Hill the week before, I think he finished second or fifth, and then second and fifth back to back. And then the previous, when he was second at the Masters to Rahm, he had won in Orlando the previous week. So he's going to tell us when he's ready to compete in majors again. I don't think it's right now.
And honestly, I'm not sure. Even though I'm not sure if this is a Brooks course. I mean, for whatever reason, I think Brooks performs better in the Northeast.
Yeah, and that's why I would hope to maybe he shows us something in the next month so we can maybe go to him at Oakmont.
Yeah, I'm thinking next year's Open's in is in Pennsylvania, right?
Yes.
PGA, excuse me.
PGA is in Aronimink, yeah.
And then the Open's at Shinnecock, which is where he won in 18. But
yeah, he'll be dangerous there.
And so, who else is not playing well heading into Augusta? I mean, Quali Hollow. Why am I saying Augusta this week? I don't know.
I think Rahm is a guy we can rightfully have some questions about. He's been open in the past about not loving Quail Hollow, and I think he's been good but not great. He might not be as bad as people have tried to say he's been, but he's also not completely 100% back to what he was when he was at his best either. So Xander's another one. He's playing all right. He's starting to play better, but he's really kind of been backdooring finishes. He really hasn't been involved on a Sunday at all recently. So Brooks, Rahm, Xander, Victor Hovland, who I like at the longer odds that he's at now, but he's been incredibly up and down.
But Victor Hovland's been great at the PGA.
Third and second in his last 2, and he's a guy you don't know if he's going to show up with his best stuff, but if he does, I think he can beat anybody.
Yeah, especially the long irons, and we know Victor can hit those long irons.
Yes.
I don't know if you could explain, but what the heck happened to Wyndham Clark? Because I mean, since he won Pebble Beach last year, Wyndham Clark has not looked anything like himself. And you would think Quay Hollow, not just because he won here 2 years ago, would be a match made in heaven for Clark.
Yeah. I think with Clark, it always was a little bit of a flash in the pan for me. Like I never thought he was going to come and be this great player and stay at the top in the top 10 in the world rankings for a long period of time. I think he got really hot for a stretch, and I think he took advantage, of that hot stretch and won a bunch because I do think he's a player who has some balls down the stretch. But I was never high on him long term. I don't think he was the greatest prospect. I was never that high on him to begin with, so I'm not surprised that he's kind of taken a step back.
And then a guy I like, I don't know if he's completely healthy, but Will Zalatoris has not looked the same since 22 when he finished second to JT in the playoff and was one shot out of a playoff with Fitz. I don't think Zalatoris is healthy.
No, I mean the major back surgery is not something I guess that's easy to bounce back from, especially in golf. I mean, we've seen what back injuries kind of did to Tiger. Yeah, and he was able to figure out at some point, and I think Zalatoris, hopefully he does, but I don't think it's a given in this sport that someone who has a major injury and such a vital body part for golf, I don't think it's a given that they'll ever get back to what they were before. I hope he does, but I don't think we can guarantee that.
Yeah, and you would think, and ordinarily, will Zalatoris be perfect at this course because these long courses, these PGA courses, PGA Championship course, be a match made in heaven for Will Z. But
Yeah, you would think so.
and then let me see, one more. Um, do you think Dustin Johnson ever gets back close to his major form? We've seen DJ's best days.
Oh, I hope so. I don't see any reason to believe that we will get that Dustin Johnson back. It doesn't mean we can't get 80% of that again at some point because right now he isn't that. But I've seen some flashes of it recently. I've seen him have these great rounds. He had one, in Hong Kong and won this next one in the Masters. He looked good up until the 16th hole on Friday. So I do think at his best, it's still there somewhere. But I don't think he can do it consistently anymore. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him as like a first round leader in a major coming up soon. We'll see. He might have one last little DJ run in him, but it seems like far fetched at the moment.
Yeah, honestly, I can't figure it out because every time we're getting ready to throw Justin Rose to pastor, he darn near wins the Masters.
Yeah, and Rose is a guy who I think reminds me a lot of another player I really like this week in Jason Day. And I don't know if he's healthy or not, but I think right now at this stage in his career, he's a little bit younger, but he's more battered with the injury stuff than Rose is Day. And I think he has one thing on his mind now, and that's competing for another major championship and getting from that 1 to 2, which elevates your career. And I like him a lot this week. He's played well at Quail Hollow. I think if he does tee it up, which it seems like he is, he was on the range today. I think he's going to get in contention.
And I think the weather is going to help Jason Day. It's not going to be overly cool or rainy. I think this weather will help all the guys with hurt backs because I like somebody who's a little nicked who's always a little nicked this week too.
Who's that?
Hideki.
Oh, Hideki. Yes, I love Hideki. Yeah, he was so great last week for most of the tournament until Sunday. He completely fell apart. But Hideki, what's we gonna get with him? It's boom or bust.
I mean, you just think, well, Hideki always plays well. Torrey Pines, Riviera. He played really well. Probably should have won the PGA in 2017. Then yeah, we know what happened on Sunday when JT won. But I think Hideki's more capable of winning. So under the DraftKings pricing, and boy, if you want Scotty Scheffler, Roy McIlroy, you're gonna have to pay a pretty penny because Scheffler's 13-4, Roy's 12-12, Bryson's 11-5, Ludwig 10-8, Xander 10-7, Morikawa 10-4, Rom 10-2, JT 99, Hovland 98, Brooks 97, Neiman 96, Cantley 95, Matsuyama 94, Spieth 93, Lowry 92, Fleetwood 91, Haddon 9,000. Did I miss anybody in the tens or nines?
No, I don't think you did. I do want to say one thing real quick. We have some breaking news that we will break on the show. Spieth is paired with Patrick Reed for the first 2 rounds.
Oh my heavens.
Yeah, something, isn't it?
That means there will be at least 10 delays doing those rounds.
Oh yeah, and maybe hey, maybe it fires them up to play some good golf, and they have their history together, so adds even more excitement. But yeah, that 10K range, whatever, who I'm going to play, and that's Bryson.
Yeah, I understand why Scheffler's 13-4, but I would have it switch. I think Roy should be more expensive than Scotty, but that's just me.
I agree with that. I do think that should be the case, and I'm surprised that he actually isn't. Scotty's only played this only played this course at the 2022 President's Cup.
And he wasn't even that good.
He was actually
No,
among the worst scoring Americans that week.
because Scott, I don't think Scheffler played this event in 23 or 24 because of his baby.
Nope, he's only played it in the President's Cup.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a little concerning, but why I don't think Bryson would have played it a few times, but he played I think Bryson played the 2017 PGA here, correct?
Yeah, he played Wells Fargo. I want to say twice as well. So he's played it a couple of times, and he's finished. Let me see where he finished here. He finished, I think, 19th in 2021 here,
Yeah.
which is enough. Oh, he finished. No, sorry, he finished ninth in 2021. 2018, he finished fourth, and in the PGA Championship, he finished T33.
And the 17 and 18 came before Bryson became Bryson.
Yes, and then the ninth in 2021.
Anybody intrigues you in the low to mid high 9K range?
Um, Neiman for me. I mean, I know people are sick of him. I know it, and I know I'm kind of on Neiman Island here. After everyone's kind of jumping off him, but I'm gonna stick with him for a little bit longer. I don't know how long, but at least for this one, I still think the rush to judgment on him is a little bit too early. He's still only 26. He's less than a year older than Ludwig Oberg. And I think Neiman gets a lot of slack for the fact that he hasn't played well in majors, but some people don't realize or aren't considering the first 8 majors he played in, he was a teenager. He was elevated to the PGA Tour early. So I think, I think I'm going to give him a couple more chances. I think this should be a good golf for him. I mentioned Riviera as the comp. He won there. Uh, Long classical. I think he'll like this place.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and a course where I think power matters. I mean, you look at it the 9K range. I don't think I want any part of Jordan Spieth this week. He's never really been a Quali Hollow fan. I think if Jordan Spieth wins the PGA, it'll be in Frisco in a couple of years. I don't know what it is, but Shane Lowry and Tommy Fleetwood always disappoint me. Every time I think one of them's going to win, it's like, oh wait, they finished second every time.
Well, second wouldn't hurt you in this format.
True, but JT at 99. I mean, I like the form JT's coming in. One Hilton Head, and if JT can keep enough drives in play, I think with those irons, wedges, I think JT could still hanging around with the boys. I mean,
I would argue he's the third best player in the PGA Tour right now. I don't think you could really make an argument for anybody else besides that. And he's also putting it great. He's 13th in stroke gained putting this season.
and we know JT's big issue after 2022 was he could not make a freaking putt.
Right. And
And,
now he's hitting the irons and putting. So he's dangerous.
and so 8K range, Henley, Day, Will Z, Minwoo, Wyndham Clark, Cam Smith, Connors, Sunjay M, Sunjay M, excuse me, Pat Reed, Justin Rose, Seth Straka. Oh gosh, I'm not sure. I mean, other than maybe the guys in the low 8K range, I'm not sure I like any of them.
Yeah, I think you'll see Reed get pretty popular.
Uh,
And I think Straka will be popular.
yeah, Corey
I'd
Connors.
play Day.
Corey Connors always going to be chalky in majors, but that's probably more in Augusta.
I'm surprised Day's 8,800. I almost like that better because now no one's going to play him.
I think that I think the DK pricing this week was so expensive more than it was at Augusta, but they're all 5K golfers. Not that we're expecting a 5K golfer to win. Like you think Eric Cole's going to win the PJ? No, but
No, no.
I remember some of these guys being in the sevens. Like Steph would have been in the mid sevens at Augusta. Now he's 8,000 and will be mega chill.
Yep.
But even the high sevens, Tom Kim, Maverick McNeely. Yeah, if the Ryder Cup started today, Maverick McNeely would be like right on the board of making the Team USA squad.
And you know what? They'd be in trouble. That Euro team is deep.
This is the best Euro team I've seen in a long time, especially when Rahm's a captain's pick. If Luke
Yeah.
Donald's not an idiot.
Yeah, he will definitely be a captain's pick. Him, Hatton, they're going to be. They're good. They're deep. They have young players, and the people always would say the Americans favor a long course where bombers prevail. That
Wait,
European team.
Roy, Rahm, Ludwig, Hatton. Are you still there? Oh no.
Oh, yeah, they get some bombers on that team.
Yeah. Okay, and then 7K. I mean, McNeely, Kim, Burns, Homa, DJ, Fitz. What the heck happened to Matthew Fitzpatrick?
Yeah, Fitz has been off this season for whatever reason. I think we saw some life out of Tony Finau last week. We talked about Dustin Johnson, who maybe could, show us something. Max Homa liked this golf course. A lot of risks down here in the sevens.
Yeah, Keegan Bradley, Cam Young. I mean, don't get me started on Ricky Fowler, please. But that's another story.
He loves this place.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, Quali Hollow is when Ricky got his first PGA win, 2012, if my memory serves me right.
Yep.
So ultimately, who do you think will be? Let me see if I could guess who will be the chalky. Scotty will be 18%.
Yeah, I have him kind of at 2022. I think with the price difference between him and Rory, you will see Rory get a lot more ownership.
Rory's going to be 26%.
Yeah, I could see 26. I could see it going up between 28 and 32% too.
I mean, is Rory going to be the chalky or is somebody else going to be chalkier? I mean, Bryson's going to be in the 20s, right?
Yeah, I would say it will be Rory. Those three will be Rory, Bryson, then Scotty.
And then, honestly, looking at the contest selection, Millie Maker, no, thank you. I'm not putting in 37.50 in that crapshoot. What are you going to play DK wise this week?
So let's look. I like my favorite contest is typically that the 12 single. I like that one a lot. And I like the 33 single, the 80K dog leg, 50K to 15K to first. Those are the two that I always play. And then sometimes in majors, I like that 200 single. I think that's a pretty good contest too.
Yeah, I'm not playing the Millie Maker. I like those singles because guess what? You play one lineup, I play one lineup. Instead of one of those guys having 150 and just stack everyone.
Yeah, completely agree.
Do we know what who Scotty, Roy, and Bryson are paired with? That would be a fun pair, a group with this weekend.
Yeah, we do. I didn't see it. Someone just texted me about the Spieth and Reed thing, but I'm gonna pull up the app right now. We might be able to see who they got. Okay. PGA Chambers make me do this. Okay. Yep, we got it. I'll scroll, see if we get any notable pairings here. We got Brooks, Ricky, and Shane. We got Phil Mickelson, Tommy Fleetwood, and Jason Day.
Oh gosh.
Rahm, Cantlay, and Matt Fitzpatrick.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Cantley's going to take an hour and a half between shots.
Rory, Xander, and Scotty.
Oh,
That's a pretty good one. And let's see any other notables here. We got.
Who did they give Bryson?
That's what I'm excited to see. Hatton, Zalatoris, and Adam Scott. JT, DJ, and Morikawa. Spieth, Reed, and Oberg. Hideki, Wyndham, and Tom Kim. Oh, here's Bryson. Bryson, Victor Hovland, and Gary Woodland. I'll be watching that group.
Yeah, you'll have two of those guys.
Yep, and I love Gary too. So yeah, that's pretty much all the notable ones.
Yeah. So you know me, Matt. I am the trivia savant. I mean, people try and stump me, and they fail. So, what do you have up your sleeve?
Okay, here's the question. Who is the only player to lose all 4 majors in a playoff? That's part 1 of the question.
Uh, hmm, fine. Is he a well-known golfer?
Yes.
Hmm. How far back do I have to go? It's got to be before all time, right?
It's not extremely, I mean, relatively far back, but not, you know, 80s, 90s, early 90s.
Oh boy.
He's an infamous figure in the sport.
Well, it can't be can't be. I'm thinking of the U.S. Oh gosh, I'm thinking of the U.S. Open. Because Ernie Els never lost a playoff at the U.S. Open. At least
No,
no, he didn't lose in 94, 97. Hmm. Mm, Phil? No, I could
not.
no, not Phil.
I'll
Did he
give you the
win?
years of the majors. How about that?
Huh?
I'll give you the years of the majors.
Okay.
84, 87, 89, and 93.
Oh, Greg Norman.
Greg Norman. Can you name who he lost to in each of those 4 playoffs?
Norman lost the 84 U.S. Open to Fuzzy Zeller,
Yep.
the 87 PGA to Bob Tway.
So is the 87, nope, 87 was the
Oh,
Masters.
excuse me, Masters to Larry Mize. Thank you.
Yep.
89. Wait. 89. Wait. 89 would have been what? would 89 have been the year he lost to Payne Stewart in the playoff?
Nope, 89 was
Oh,
at Royal
Falco.
Troon.
Oh, 89 Open. Would that? Oh, gosh. Trying to think. Because Fowler won in 90. Would that have been the year Sandy Lyle won an Open? Won an,
Nope.
am I in the right? Am I on the right?
I think similar right track. 89 British Open at Royal Troon. It was a 4-hole aggregate.
Uh, is it the Ian Woosnam?
Nope.
Oh, oh gosh. Okay. Who was it?
It was Mark Calcavecchia.
Oh, Mark Calvecchia, the year he won the Open. I was thinking the only American in all the British names I couldn't even think of.
There was a 3-way playoff, and 2 of them were Australians.
Was the other one like O'Grady?
Wayne Grady. Yep.
O'Grady. And then Augusta, what year? And then what was the other one?
The other one was the PGA in 93.
Oh, that to Paul Azinger.
Yep. That was a good question, huh?
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that was going back in time, thinking. By the way, 84 U.S. Open at Wingfoot, and funny thing, Norman actually made like a 40-foot call on the 18th hole, and Fuzzy thought Norman made a birdie, and then Fuzzy had a great fifth round, and Norman hit Norman, and I remember Jim McKay saying, even though it's well before my time, that's another one on the beach, and then Norman waved his white towel surrender.
You know what? Even though you didn't get it perfect, I'm really impressed with what you did get on that one because you knew a lot of that, and that was before before you were born, before I was born. So I think you did a great job on that one.
Yeah. So now we get to the best part. So I'm reading your betting article, and I'm gonna save your one and done for the end, but because I think we know who it is. But tell me your not non one and done bets.
So I got Neiman at 40-1. I think he gets in the mix the first time. Does he win? I don't know, but he will be involved in my opinion. Like Hovland, I just think the number has drifted to a crazy 50-1, 60-1, and he's a player who has the talent to compete. Hatton, this was a future I had from earlier in the year at 50-1. I thought it was going to be a great number, and I thought he was going to, crush the live season. He hasn't done that, but I still am okay with the spot. And then Jason Day, 80-1. I got some 100 a little bit back on DraftKings. I think he gets involved this week.
Yeah, I like JT because I think Justin Thomas is more capable of winning a major. Hideki, not just what happened last week, but what he's done at Quali Hollow and similar courses. Steph Straka, because I think Steph's with those long irons might be the one short hitter capable of hanging with the big boys. And trying to think, who was the other? I think I had one other. I think I had one other guy. Oh, Captain America, Patrick Reed. I'm
Oh, I
like,
like it.
I could not believe Patrick Reed's number. Like, does nobody? I don't care if Patrick Reed is like the most hated golfer on the face of the planet.
Yeah, I know he probably is, but I think it would be fun to see him involved.
Yeah, you imagine Roy and Reed in the final pairing.
Hate is good for golf. We need more of it.
Hey, you know what? Maybe it helped Roy that Bryson was in the final pairing.
Yeah, it probably would.
So, I think we know who you like, Matt. But I mean, PGA's been all hotspot. Hotspot. I've got 2 wins and a second the last 3 years. I don't know about you, Matt, but go ahead. Who's winning?
My one and done pick this week is Bryson DeChambeau. I just think he is so perfectly suited to win this event. He was second last year's PGA. He likes the golf course. He's playing great. He's driving at an all-time clip right now, the way he's driving the golf ball. And he's been the best major performer outside of Xander in the last 5 majors.
I hope I'm not a day late and a dollar short, but I think the crowd's going to be roaring for Roy on Sunday as he goes back to back.
Wow. That would be something.
And then Bryson wins the US Open.
Maybe Bryson versus Rory part 3, the rubber match.
Yeah, golf's newest trilogy.
Yeah, that would it would not surprise me, honestly.
I mean, trying to think what be the. I mean, we know what the best thing for golf would be. What's the worst thing that could happen for golf this week?
The worst thing. I mean, I might have a little bias, but I think Scotty winning is a boring major. Cantlay would be pretty boring.
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, Cantley. Yeah, it seems like nobody likes Cantley for whatever reason. I mean, Scotty wins at 31 under. So what? So what? You know how well you play. Next,
Yeah, exactly.
we'd rather. So who cares what you do at the Byron Nelson? Show up at a major, not name Augusta for heaven's sake.
Exactly right.
By the way, I have one bold prediction this week. I think Scotty Scheffler misses the cut.
Yes, let's go. I hope that happens.
I mean, PGA has not been Scotty's cup of tea, and you know what? Last year, I mean, I will say this. I think I will say this. Police will not arrest Scotty Scheffler this week.
No, but I might call the police on him if he starts winning after a few rounds.
You know any cops in Charlotte?
No, I'll find some though.
Oh no. I didn't think we'd end this episode talking about police officer. By the way, you can follow Matt. He is a Sports Illustrated golf writer. So you can, in fact, I have his article on one of my tabs. So I highly recommend it. This guy is uber hot when it comes to major bets, golf bets, and hopefully one of us brings home the bacon this week.
Let's do it. Thank you very much, Dylan. I appreciate it.